So we're here today at the Sound House recording the finale of the 11th Doctor Chronicles.
This has been an intense set of stories because the set of circumstances that the Doctor and Valerie have found themselves in have been so profound, and they've really run the gamut in a way that the other Doctors that I've worked with haven't really, because it's been an arc over a series of episodes, and so we've really seen them both go through the mill, and Valerie in particular has lost and suffered so much.
She's always been the same throughout, but there's definitely been things that have changed her perspective on everything and has hardened her in a way I don't think she expected. It makes her understand things more, it makes her question things more than she ever did. And I think every single time her and the Doctor go to a new place, it only gets worse, better, / mixed, I don't know.
Safia is wonderful. They are the perfect companion. You couldn't wish for a better bundle of energy to come into the studio with. They really do light up the room, and I think when you're recording these, some of the days can sometimes be quite slow because you're having to go over the same scenes over and over again, but Safia always makes it fresh, and they always really lift the whole performance, and I do think that they are such an important part of why this range is so brilliant.
I was handed the gift of not just Jake, but this whole series when I took over, because obviously in the old Chronicles format, it was Jake and one other reader, and when I took over, they went, oh, by the way, the BBC say we want this series to go full cast, and you listen to Jake, and he is incredible, not just at getting the voice of the 11th Doctor, but getting the entire emotional range. And then when we were talking, and we knew that we wanted to do this series, and we were coming up with a kind of companion that we wanted to do, and the idea of them sort of being like a cybernetic bionic woman style character from the future, Jake did The Black Knight, and when I found Valerie, and their chemistry together is just incredible. And to then not only just find someone that they work so well with, but Saf is such a massive, not just Doctor Who fan, but a general anime and sci-fi fan, and is really into the world, as well as being an extraordinary talent. And we have rested a lot of emotional beats on the backs of both of them.
So both of them it's been really interesting to learn from, but Safi especially. They have an incredible voice. It's really interesting to see how it sort of plays out. And of course we get on really well. So that obviously makes everything very easy, and the chemistry flows, I think, quite naturally on and off.
When this role washed up on my doorstep, I was like, this is my big blue box appearing in my drive, and someone being like, come with me. It's something that I've always dreamt of. I've spoken about this in my other interviews, but I have a Doctor Who bucket list, which are in the back of my mind, highlighted moments of what I've always, because I've been a Whovian since I was a child, fantasy moments, things that I wrote in fan fictions about traveling around with the Doctor and having that escapism, essentially. I had these moments bookmarked of things I wanted to experience, and in the very first episode, I think we knocked out a whole bunch in a row. Things like yelling the Doctor and running, looking at the TARDIS for the first time. When you step into the TARDIS, you hear the squeaky doors open, and it's you hear the hum of the TARDIS heartbeat. You know, hearing the theme song play after a really dramatic line that I deliver.
When we decided to do this run, Alfie said to me, is there any one thing that from the show that you would like to put in? This is your final run. Is there anything you'd like to see? And I said, I love the Cybus stompy 2006 Cybermen. To hear Nick doing the voice was a real fanboy moment for me, and genuinely quite scary as well, because I haven't heard that voice since I was a kid. Obviously, the Daleks are very exciting. I think that we have done the Paradigm Daleks justice in this run. I really love that they all have different characters, like the Supreme and the Eternal and the Scientist and the Strategist. I like that these specific Daleks we got to do a story with.
Because we're doing the Matt Smith era, we have the new Paradigm Daleks, which the visual design perhaps divided people when they first appeared, but they have that great deep voice, and we never really got a full big Dalek epic for the 11th Doctor, so this is a chance to do a proper big. And when I knew when we were going to do Daleks, I wanted them to be sort of going back to basics, kind of something inspired by the Dalek invasion of Earth, the Hartnell story. Just big. These things are an absolute threat, and if they arrive, they will destroy your world. Like at the end of Series 4, all of the companions are really scared because they get that message from the Daleks. That is what I wanted to do for this. It's just the Daleks are back. They are back in force. It's the new paradigm, and they are going to ruin everything, and not everyone is getting out alive.
Even the fact that I can say, like, oh, the Cybermen, the Daleks, it feels so natural to me because, like, again, I've been living in this sort of world since I was a child. They feel so familiar, and it's just the most incredible thing.
We considered a lot of gaps. As you said, there's a lot of gaps in the Doctor's life, and we looked at all of them. The problem is, with a lot of the gaps, they are kind of in between him travelling with Clara or him travelling with the Ponds, and there is a tension that if you introduce a new companion and they're travelling around an old companion, you sort of want them to meet, which we couldn't really do. So we struck upon the gap there between Snowman and Buzz of St. John.
Me and Alfie had long conversations about where in the era we could place new stories, because we wanted to do a serialised run, and there are other options, but we felt like the best gap was, the time that the Doctor has a long time off screen, and he changes so much in that time, so we thought that he could really go on a journey in our own series.
It's an area where we know he's off searching for Clara, but we don't know how all that we know at the end is he doesn't succeed. And it's a nice big gap because he very triumphantly goes, "Hello, Clara, off I come." Cut to, I'm on a swing talking to child Clara, then I'm in the monastery. So it was a nice open space for us just to go, great, we can kind of do what we want here. There's also a bit of a fan perception that the Series 7 Doctor is a bit of a darker version of the 11th Doctor. I don't really agree, because Story 2, he nearly kills a star whale, and then, he turns the human race against the Silence. But it was a gap that we could exploit that kind of darkness. And also, just to be, because you have to think not just about the audio, but how the covers look and that sort of thing. He does end the Snowmen going off in that great outfit. And it was a chance to give the series its own visual identity just from the covers as well. So all of those things, we went, great, we'll have that gap.
There is a real difference between the start of Matt's run and the end of Matt's run vocally. The Doctor changes so much. I think it's one of the brilliant things that he did in that limited time was to show the change and how his experiences have affected him, and he becomes a lot more, professorial. At the start, he's much more young and bubbly and full of life. So, yeah, this specific vocal tone that we have for him in this run is definitely different to the earlier stuff we did with me as Matt's Doctor. And it helps that I'm a little bit older now as well, because my voice is generally becoming more professorial as well.
It's been fascinating, meeting all the different characters, and predominantly for me as an actor being in a studio with other voice actors. I mean, the voices are really, really incredible. You can't really prepare yourself for that.
I love Jacob Dudman so much. Jake is just the most wonderful, giving, caring, considerate, compassionate actor, and he gives me the space that I need, and he brings so much joy and authenticity to his portrayal of the 11th, and which is why he's so brilliant and everyone resonates with him, because he is the Doctor, and he brings this warmth and energy into the room that makes me feel like no matter what we do, we're always going to have each other's backs, and the really challenging scenes don't feel like challenges because he's there with me. And there are so many takes that we do where we just we look at each other over our tablets where our lines are, and we just sort of look into each other's eyes, and we know we have each other. And yeah, he's my Doctor.
When Jake has to act this role, it's a role within a role. Obviously he is playing Matt Smith, playing the Doctor, but he still inhabits it fully. It's not just an impression, it is a fantastic actor's delivery as well, full of instinct, full of his own instinct, as well as emulating all of Matt's incredible performance. And so when I have to direct anything with Jake in, it's just a case of tweaking. It's just a case of giving him a nudge here and there to say, oh, dynamically, maybe we need to push that further, or don't forget that we've got this context around it. It's really about shaping it like a piece of music, because his instinct is so brilliant and we're so kind of in tune. He needs very little direction, really.
Well, I've been quite sad because I had to do a speech today about how everything ends and how that's always good, and it doesn't always feel good because you have such a good time making these that it feels a bit sad to be ending, but I know that it's the right thing. I've been doing these for more than a quarter of my life and I've had the best time doing them. We all change. Everything ends. And yeah, we just got to keep moving. So long as we remember all the people that we used to be. I'll always remember when the Doctor was me. And it's been the best. So thank you, Big Finish, for having me. Thank you, Doctor Who.